now, I mean, it's tantalisingly close. I mean, 63 points, 61, 60, and they've all obviously played each other multiple times. I mean, they are still right in this, Rangers. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was Keith says to me earlier on, did Rangers look like champion material, or have they looked like champion material? But my response to that would be, well, do any of the top three look like champion material? Yeah, I don't think any of them are playing particularly well at this moment in time, which you'd maybe expect in the run-in, given what's at stake and the kind of tensions. But, I mean, I've said my piece today for the game. I mean, whoever wins ugliest might just win this league, because as I say, there's so much at stake. The games are massive every week. Doesn't really matter where you go and who you're playing against. It's just about getting over the line. Danny Rose said that in his post-match conference there. Whoever shows, it's an obvious thing to say, whoever shows the most consistency now will win it. And it's just about scraping results. I don't think any of these three teams are going to play scintillating football between now and mid-May, when it will be decided. So all they can do is tick the games off one at a time. I think next week, looking at the dynamic, I think Hearts play first at home, Rangers playing the Saturday night, and then Celtic, obviously, I think they go to Tannadice on the Sunday, which won't be easy. So next weekend will be another thriller, no doubt.
You mentioned there Giga and Fernandes, and I completely agree. I thought they cruised it against Celtic last week. Same again today. St Mirren, as you say, I can't even remember one instance where they troubled Jack Butland. But what does that say about John Souttar? I'm kind of surprised that where he finds himself now, kind of out the team at the most crucial point in the season.
I'm not particularly surprised, just by the fact I think John Souttar's levels have dropped a wee bit in recent weeks, recent months. I mean, he came off the bench against Celtic last week for Giga. I thought immediately, Rangers didn't look as comfortable at the back as they did when Giga and Fernandes were there. Now, listen, we all had a bit of a pop at Giga probably at the start of the season, because there was a few games he looked like a bit of a bomb scare. The Celtic game at Hampden, the Cup game at Hampden, particularly, he looked a bag of nerves, and you weren't sure whether Danny Rowe would be able to trust him. He went to AFCON, didn't play a minute, and you thought, God, is he even going to come back to Rangers? Might they try and send him back to Wolves? Can I end his loan early? But to be fair to him, and I think the big difference, Daniel, and it was the same again today, he hasn't been taking as many chances at the back, I don't think. I mean, there was a ball get played down the side after about 5 minutes today, and Dan Lindelöf, St Mirren's big strikers, chasing it, and Giga just knocked it out of the park. I mean, just literally just knocked it out of the park after a couple of minutes. And I thought, that's a guy that's learning. When you come to these venues against these types of opposition, you can't take the kind of chances, turning when you're running back towards your own goal. So I've been really impressed with him the last couple of weeks. Fernandes, as you say, I think is cruising through games. I mean, your heart's still in your mouth a wee bit with him at times, because he does like to take a chance, whether that's with his defending or he's passing out. But I just think, look, it might be too early, but the two of them just look as if they're quite comfortable with each other. They look solid. They look as if they've got a decent relationship back there. And I think going into the title run-in, Danny Rowe will be looking at that and thinking, that's a decent platform for us. If we know they're going to be solid and not give up many chances, certainly didn't give up many today, that can give Rangers a real platform to go and try and win games. However, the other side of the flip side of that is he needs far more of his forward players, because the guys at the other end of the pitch aren't really producing at the minute.
I was going to ask you that, Scott. I don't know if you saw, but Chris Boyle on Sky Sports was having a bit of a dig at both Chermiti and Naderi after the game. I mean, how did you see the performance today? Are they doing enough to be kind of title-winning strikers at the minute?
Nah, they have to do more, Daniel. I mean, Danny Rose went with this 4-4-2 in recent weeks, or basically since January, when he got Naderi and Skov Olsen in. And the reason for that was he felt that they were pretty solid at the back, but they had to take it up a notch going forward. They had to score more goals, create more chances. It hasn't really worked out like that. I mean, the Hearts game at home, they won 4-2, it looked promising, with Chermiti and Naderi up front. Since then, I don't really think it's worked with the two of them. I mean, the two of them worked hard. Naderi especially looked shattered by the time he came off today. I mean, he puts a shift in, but he doesn't look a massive goal threat. And for me, Daniel, the thing about the two of them that I'm disappointed in, they're up there as a two. I don't see much link up between them. I don't see them working as a pair or as a partnership. I think that's what Rowe would have been hoping for.
He's not. He surprised me, Naderi, in the sense that he's not at all what I imagined. I imagined him being this big sort of goal poacher striker that was going to barrel over centre halves. He's contributing, like you say. Doesn't he stop running? But he's not really what I imagined at all.
But he's dropping into midfield, Danny, because of the 4-4-2. Danny Rowe's asking him, when Rangers don't have the ball, to drop in and sit on the kind of deepest line midfield. I mean, against Celtic last week, it felt like he was playing 2 or 3 positions in the one game, and the manager knows he can get that from him because he's kind of work ethic. And he knows he's willing to do it. But I agree with you. I think you're losing a bit in the Naderi in the box. No, you want to see him as a penalty box striker, and it's just not happening for them at the minute.
And Chermiti, look, we've talked about him ad nauseam on the Hotline Live. You never know what you're going to get. He can be world class, or he can be a bit underwhelming. It was probably the latter today.
Only scores against Celtic Hearts. As simple as that.
Aye, that's it. Well, look, Scott, I'll let you get up the road. Thanks so much for joining us on the Hotline Live. I know I say this all the time, but I'm absolutely positive I'll be pestering you to get you back on soon.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, Scott. Scott McDermott there, Keith. I've got tons of comments coming in. Let me throw a few of these at you. Rangers Easy OK says, evening lads, 8 wins and this Rangers team are champions. We had to win at all costs today, at absolute all costs. The 3 teams are not firing, but we need to keep it together and believe. This one from Mark, he says, big win for Rangers. Expected points dropped as they usually do when there's a chance to progress. AF Scott says, Rangers look way stronger defensively with Giga over Suter. Suter was Celtic's best player last week in the Cup. And Tone says 3 points today was what it was all about. I think it could be down to goal difference for the eventual winner. There's also a bit of a running theme in the comments, Keith, about fans thinking that Hearts have chucked it. Let the comments do the talking. The Canadian Hammer says, Keith, Hearts will finish third. They won't be leaders by the split. Wilkinson says, also think Hearts will finish at best third. Wouldn't be certain they can stay ahead of Motherwell. Ross says, you can see Hearts are starting to crumble. Celtic will kick on and secure 5 in a row. This one as well. DD says, Keith, you're forgetting to mention Negren to suit your narrative. He scored more goals than Shankland and Braga. And very finally, Marzuno says, how are Celtic still in this with 7 games lost? What more do the opposition want?
Yeah, well, look, variety of things there, and a whole lot of wishful thinking. Listen, I'm sure that Rangers and Celtic will be expecting Hearts just to fade away now. I'm pointing to reasons that I don't believe that will be the case. And I think if you've got 2 strikers like Shankland and Claudio Braga, you've got a chance. Because these guys are finishers for clinical. Aye. I absolutely accept that Nygren has made a massive contribution in terms of his goals for Celtic this season, but he's not centre forward. and what I'm saying is, I might be entirely wrong. Maybe somebody can point out to me the last time that a team won the title in Scotland without having a fully functioning centre forward or 2. And I can't. I was racking my brain. I can't think of one example of a team winning a title without having a goal scorer to lead the line. Nygren has chipped in, and he's as I said, his contribution has been terrific. Certainly in terms of goals, but he's not a striker. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, going into the final stretch, Hearts have got the 2 best strikers.
Look, people can write in. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Sure.
Well, that for me could be decisive.
Aye. The one thing personally for Celtic, and I know you caught up with Michael Gannon, who was at Celtic Park yesterday. Yeah. Massive win for him. She just, this is a very optimistic way of looking at it, is that, Dyson Ryder for one, at 14 games, he's not scored his biggest drought since he was at Celtic. I bet me thinks, well, he's going to score soon. He's got to score a couple of goals coming up. But aside from that, I don't know who scores the goals for Celtic. I really don't.
Well, Nygren.
Nygren, apart from him,
I heard somebody saying the other day it was, a bit of a a bit worried that if Kieran Tierney was going to be fit, because he is emerging as a real goal threat. When you're desperately hoping that your left back stays fit to get you going, there enough Rangers get their one today because their left back pops up.
But this
is what I'm saying, that they're not functioning. These teams are not functioning.